So good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you all here this morning. And I'm Helen Wright. I'm a spiritual leader here for Unity of Las Cruces, together with the rest of the ministerial team, with Reverend Tanya and Reverend Pat. So again, welcome to Unity of Las Cruces virtual Sunday service celebration, where God is good all the time and all are welcome, safe and loved. Today, it's not so much a spiritual reading, it's from the Ojibwe or the Anishinaabe tradition, and I have had the blessings to be able to study with them for many years, back when I first came to this country. So in honor of the Autumnal Equinox and in honor of the indigenous and native peoples, and in honor of Reverend Amari Magdalena, who is leading us in part ritual, part talk today, these are some words from, say, my friends of the Ojibwe Anishinaabe tradition. Blessings and balance, balance and blessings. For from balance come all blessings. So today's speaker is Reverend Amari Magdalena, and her title is The Fall Equinox, the feminine sun cycle, and she'll also be leading us in meditation, so looking forward to that. And our musicians today are Barry and Max, and the music is Shine On, so looking to hear that music too. For good news, I'd just like to remind people or invite people to send in your favorite stories for good news, and then Ken will get those ready for Sundays. So looking forward to any and all of your good news. And now if we take a moment of gratitude, let's all join together, connecting with that heart energy of gratitude. So we, all of Unity of Las Cruces, everyone who enlivens our church, behind the scenes, those who attend in person, those who watch later on YouTube, those who join by phone, everyone creating this spiritual energy here at Unity of Las Cruces. And especially thanks to our prayer chaplaincy, the New Thought prayer team, Unity of Las Cruces board, social media outreach, the people who help and donate and pray, the musicians, our speakers, especially today, Reverend Amari, and especially the technology, the Zoom, the YouTube, the email, and all of the work that goes on behind the scenes for that. And also the ministry team and the work that goes on behind the scenes in the ministry team. So thank you for raising the vibrations of this universe through prayers, affirmations, and visualizations, and for allowing the love, the light, and the healing energy to flow through you to our planet, to our universe, streaming forth from our heart. So let us now join and prepare for our opening prayer as we join together. And as we just breathe and center ourselves, becoming present in this moment, becoming present to the presence of the divine, that divine consciousness in each of us. From this place, we hold that prayer consciousness for all of our own community who have requested prayers, for all of the New Thought community in Las Cruces, and for Las Cruces and New Mexico, our country, and our earth home. We hold all of humanity in prayer, knowing that all of our prayers are always answered by Spirit, always, because we know God is good and everywhere present. And so giving thanks that our prayers are answered, giving thanks that there is divine order established in our lives, and giving thanks for our light that we can radiate out to others, and our peace that we radiate out to others. And for this, we are grateful and say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And now it's time for the Daily Word with Dave Adey.
Good morning, Unity friends. Our daily word for this September 19th, 2021 is free. Our affirmation, living from my divine nature frees me. Sometimes I feel limited when I don't think I have enough time, money, space, education, or experience. These thoughts can occupy so much space in my mind that I begin to think limitation is the truth of life. The greater truth is that I am free and unlimited in spirit. Alive in God, I am free to express all the love, wisdom, and strength of the divine as only I can. What joy and liberation it is to know that nothing can separate me from my true spiritual nature. If I believe my circumstance in my life or any of my past actions obstruct or delay my spiritual progress, I now release that belief. Embracing and living from the divine presence, the Christ within me, I claim freedom from all limitation. And from Scripture, Acts 17, verse 28. In him we live and move and have our being. And would you repeat our affirmation together with me, please? Living from my divine nature frees me. And so it is.
Thank you, Dave. And now with Jane Ray brings us the affirmation for unity.
The affirmation for unity. Guided by infinite love and wisdom, and with God as our source, we now behold unlimited possibilities as unity of Las Cruces grows and prospers.
Thank you, Jane. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Reverend Amari Magdalena. She's an MD, is an ordained minister and a minister director in the Universal Brotherhood movement since 1993. She's devoted the past 30 years to teachings, writings, and healings, utilizing the ancient healing wisdom of shamanism. Magdalena is the author of 9 books on various aspects of living in our changing societal structures and coming to peace. She's been a guest and speaker for the Center for Spiritual Living and Unity, and also the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. And really, she brings to us this beautiful quality of connecting with this ancient wisdom and often using ritual. So it's with great pleasure that we introduce Amari, Reverend Amari, and her talk, diving into the autumnal equinox.
Autumn greetings. I am delighted to share this special day with all of you. We today, Sunday, are celebrating the fall equinox, although in reality it's the 22nd. But for us, for some bizarre reason, our actual timing is on the 26th, and I'll explain that to you. At the equinox, we're completely in balance. Day and night are equal. And at the solstices, both there's a lot of light or there's a little light. And so we look at this time of the year also for another reason. And that is, well, the moon has 12 or 13 cycles in a year. The sun has 2 cycles. From the spring equinox to the fall equinox is called the masculine time of year. And so energies are rising. It's getting lighter. It's really a great time to be outside. Sans the allergy factors. And then at this day, or at fall equinox, we enter into the female time of year, the sun's cycle of 6 months until the spring again. So that's just a little bit of background so that you understand a little bit about it. There's another special thing today on Sunday. In numerology, we're actually a 33, which is a master number. And the master numbers hold different energy than the other single numbers. And it's very interesting that when I was deciding if I wanted to move to Las Cruces, the number 33 kept coming up over and over again. So obviously I was supposed to be here. And I also want to clarify something. I know that there's another ministry that starts with Universal Church or something, but I'm affiliated with Universal Brotherhood. I'm both an ordained minister and a minister director. And we do present credentials and explanation of why we want to be ordained. It isn't just send your money and we send you the certificate. So I thought you'd like to know that. And I've been with them for 28 years. And the thing I liked about it is that we practice our ministry the way we choose, which I really felt comfortable with, because my beliefs are surrounded by the teachings of Yeshua ben Joseph, otherwise known as Jesus, Buddha, Thich Nhat Hanh, other masters that have been around, and incorporating that with earth-based spirituality. And the last part of that is the attention to the equity between all forms of life. There's no separation. So I thought I would share that with you. So the temperatures are beginning to cool at fall equinox, and actually it went down to 69 last night. I was excited. And one thing that we'll be doing in the ceremony is we will be moving the light from the east to the west. So I'm going to recommend that at some point you grab a candle and stick it in the east of wherever you're at in your home. And if you're not sure about the directions, most phones have an app for calculating the directions. And so you can go into your app and look for that and find out which direction we're in. But overall, I would say the Organ Mountains are east, the Rio Grande is west, Albuquerque's to the north, and Mexico to the south. But just to give you that orientation, if you are a couple, a male and female, or one person wants to be the male aspect and the other the female aspect, in the ceremony for the equinox, the men hold their candles in the east, and at the end of the ceremony, move them to the west. And at that point, we're going to say, until the spring, we return the light to the east. So let's see what else I want to tell you about this. We're in sun sign Virgo until, I believe it could be tomorrow even, we're changing. But that is a female sign, it's an earth sign. And the sun is moving to full moon in Pisces between tonight and tomorrow. And that is a feminine water sign. So we have the elements of water and earth to work with, which can be used for building things. It's a good time to think about that. We also are aware that, at least in the northern hemisphere and northern climes, that it's beginning to be the hibernation time of year. And so with hibernation, for us, it's going within. It doesn't mean to stop all outward activity, but it means to really start to do and work more on the inner self, really bringing that into a good space for continuing your work. So this is also a gathering time, and it's the harvest. So you'll see when I post a picture of the altar, I represent different aspects of the harvest. The harvest goes in the northern hemisphere, northern area, till about October, but by November, you're beginning and you're beginning to get toward the dark. The beauty of that is that, yes, we're returning the light from the east to the west, but when we get to October, many, many traditions have special ceremonies of light. Diwali in the Indian tradition is celebrated either October or November. Then you move into December, and you have Hanukkah, and you have Christmas, and you have Kwanzaa, and many other traditions to celebrate. So this is also a really good time to express thanks. Thanks for everything that you've received. And even if you're going through a rough time, there are some gifts in that. I know that sounds bizarre, but there may be. And I'd like you to think of that. Or if you're coming out of that, to give thanks for that. Maybe hibernate a bit to get to know yourself better. In other words, slow down the activities that you're involved in and take time for you. Let's talk a little bit about the number 33, and remember that at all times in these ceremonies, we're talking about rising and resting energy. At the new moon, we're rising. After the full moon, we're resting. So we have that circle to operate with all the time, which if you can accept that and work with that and you stage your life with those rising and resting periods, it will be a lot better. And I realize that many of you maybe work a 9 to 5 and have time demands that people that are retired don't. And I could say I'm semi-retired, but not bound to the clock. So that's a good thing. So let's talk about 33. When you see 33, or you experience a 33 day, it's like the angels have heard your prayer. Whatever you've been putting out for, it's an assurance that help is on the way. It's a sign from the universe that you're about to experience events that lead to your growth as a person. And people who see this number are encouraged to meditate upon all their decisions, whether good or bad, because that's made them who they are. And again, it's part of appreciating all the cycles, all of the experiences. And I know that sometimes the experiences are the pits. I do know that after almost 80 years, I've seen that up and down cycle. So I don't mean to sound not compassionate at all. I know some of you are going through a lot of things that don't bring smiles to your faces, but I'm asking you as you move through that to begin to just garner those pieces that do bring satisfaction and happiness. It's calling you, the number 33, to really look deeply. It is that hibernation again. And see the strong person you've become as a result of mistakes that you've made in the past and be grateful for them. Another spiritual significance is it's time to pay attention to your goals and dreams you have in life, time to step out of your comfort zone and live your life the way you want to. I think that's a really big task for all of us. I know that for a lot of women in the era I came up who were raised to be subservient to men, which wasn't a very good construct, taking time for yourself seems not a good thing. But unless each of us is working to bring more joy into our lives, to bring satisfaction, contentment, we're not going to be happy. So sometimes we have to let go of those constructs and say, yes, they served me at one time, they no longer serve me. So I choose to gather that energy within and to foster the love within so that in my relationships, I have a font of love that I can give to people because I'm loving myself. And that's kind of the way things should be. I don't take to should on anyone, but it was intended that each of us develop ourselves, acquire happiness, learn to value all the parts of ourselves, not just the A-list, but the B-list too, and begin to love ourselves for everything, for the things that we consider good and the things we consider not so good. So I just want to remind you of that. And I know that you hear that at times, but sometimes it's good to keep getting the message. So you might also think of 33, which is called an angel master number, that you're getting support. I used to have, I still have it, I don't use it much anymore, but it's a tarot deck that's a higher tarot deck from Spirit. That's all the upper quadrant of that. And each of the numbers has some impact on how we're being supported. So if you're ever interested in that, I could offer a little class on that. The 33 angel number shows that life is a great mixture of lessons that are both good and bad, of change and love and beauty. Therefore, if you follow your own path and search within yourself for your own visions. Things begin to manifest for you. Dante wrote in the Divine Comedy, he wrote his work in 3 parts, all with 33 stanzas. There's also a story about 33 miners who survived a terrible accident on 13-10-10. If you add the numbers on the accident date, you get 33. They remained underground for 33 days, and they were saved. In religion, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ happened in 33 AD, while in science, the atomic number of arsenic is 33. So when you keep seeing the angel number 33 on random things, such as license plates or email address, you might choose to understand and appreciate that you are a person that's surrounded by love and blessings. It shows that angels are by your side and that your prayers will be answered very soon. Anytime you feel weak or at crossroads, when you need to make a decision, you can always call upon your guardian angel and you'll get the much needed support. When you see angel number 33, you should know that you have a chance to learn a lot of new things that could take you very far in your life. And of course, in the Spanish language, miracle is milagros. And so I'm going to share a personal story that happened to me, and maybe you'll understand why this is so important to watch for and to acknowledge the miracles that are in your life. I think it was in June that this all started. And I had gone to my wonderful acupuncturist, naturopath, and I'd been coughing a lot, and she was checking my lungs. And she said, I don't like the sound of this. I want you to call your nurse practitioner and go in and see her. So I did. And unlike anything that had happened before, she listened to my whole chest and then went down in the groin. And she said, we've got a problem. She said, both of them are weak, and one of them's weaker than the other, the pulse that she was looking for. So she ordered a CT scan stat. And the next day I was out doing errands at about 4:30. She called and said, you have an appointment now with a heart surgeon. They're waiting for you. And so I went to the heart surgeon and he did an EKG, and then he ordered an echogram, and he said that there's some issues with this. And then he referred me to another heart doctor who did what's called an angiogram, where they put dye in and they see your heart. And it turned out that what's called the widowmaker artery, the corona artery, was 95% blocked at the one end and about 85% at the other end. I was a walking heart attack. And so they put 3 stents in, and I'm here. And I still have to have some more surgery because I had some leaks and other things going on. But do you see the circle of miracles that happened for me to be here today and to be alive? Watch for miracles. Appreciate them. Appreciate life. Appreciate humanity. And begin to celebrate all of these different changes that we go through. I believe you will feel more connected as you embrace the equinox, and you embrace the solstices, and you embrace the energies of rising and resting, and begin to, as you're able, gear your life to follow that pattern, and you will feel much more happy and content. Some other aspects of the 33 is self-expression and creative energy. You could choose to express yourself because your opinions and your feelings matter. Sometimes, and I think again, is more your upbringing or the time that you came up, but perhaps you were taught not to say a lot, to be quiet, to listen, and you may not have heard your voice. You may not feel comfortable with your voice. Your voice is important. Your voice has a sound to it, a tone to it, an expression. And people want to hear you. I think that's something that so many people don't realize. I used to do business talks, and I was doing a business talk for some ladies, and I was very nervous about it. And the lady said, they came to see you. They came to hear you. And it helped to know that I was supported. And I feel that that's another thing to think about. Have you surrounded yourself with a good support system so that you are with people that hear you, that want to hear you? So I'm going to share a couple of wise people's writings. The first one is from Deepak Chopra. Time exists so that you can experience these flavors as deeply as possible on the path of devotion. If you can experience even a glimmer of love, it's possible to experience a little more love. When you experience that a little more, then the next degree of intensity is possible. Thus, love engenders love until you reach the point of saturation. When you totally merge with divine love, this is what the mystics mean when they say that they plunge into the ocean of love to drown themselves. Very powerful. That's from his book of secrets, Unlocking the Hidden Dimensions of Your Life. Another gentleman, Yaaz Uddin, from his book, The Inward Journey. There is a barren land inside of you. Sprout it, because that is where God resides within you. Mary Baker Eddy said, true prayer is not asking God for love. It's learning to love and to include all mankind in one's affection. For some people, that may be a little difficult. We don't have to live with all of mankind, but if we can have a more benevolent intention toward them, I think that really helps. And then from the movie Calendar Girls, he said, the flowers of Yorkshire are like the women of Yorkshire. Every stage of their growth has its own beauty, but the last phase is always the most glorious. And I really like that because it speaks to the cycles of rising and resting. And so I really encourage you in your lives to give yourself an opportunity to rise and rest. My children, who are becoming more parental, I have to laugh. and it's all because they love me, are always on me about resting. But unfortunately, I was raised by a lady that had 3 calendars and they were full every day. I'm working on it. I am. So we're going to, at this point, do a little invocation for the fall equinox. What we're doing is we're just acknowledging in each of the sacred directions an intention. An intention means that we're saying, I am thoughtfully aware of the energies, and I would like to support the energy they provide, and I'd like to honor it. So we can think of the 4 cardinal directions of east and west and north and south from each their own perspective. So we could say that the east is enlightenment, the south is innocence, the west is illusion, and the north is wisdom. And when we connect those energies, you begin to see they support one another. In order for us to become illumined, we need to work through the illusion. We need to lift the 7 veils of illusion, get past them, so we begin to see what's real and what isn't. And then in the north and south, a lot of times, it depends on your childhood. Some people had glorious childhoods, and I really honor that. What ends up, if we haven't done some of that inner work, is that the north represents the judge. If you've ever read the 4 Agreements, Miguel talks about that. And then the south becomes the victim, because that's what a person grew up with. So either they continue to play this role of judge and victim, or they begin to heal it. And the north then becomes what's called a benevolent parent. And that's a parent that isn't trying to punish, but trying to teach. And the south begins to honor emotions without being a victim. So that's just to give you a little bit of the energies of the medicine wheel. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is to, if you can, face east. And again, whatever your proximity is to the Organ Mountains, that's east for us. And go inside for a moment and just begin to feel this direction of enlightenment. I know sometimes the mountains are so beautiful. How could we not see that they're enlightening? So I suggest you just take a deep breath. And you face the direction of the east, as I call spirits of the east, keepers of the secrets to illumination, Grandfather Eagle, Ascended Masters. We invite you to walk with us at this full moon in Pisces with the sun in Virgo in the Autumnal Equinox celebration of the West. As our sun and moon return to a point of balance, light and dark being equal, we honor and give thanks for the fruit our labors have borne. We offer tribute to the earth for her sustenance of our bodies and the presentation of her fruits. As we move the light from east to west, symbolizing the travels of the sun from the spring equinox to the fall celebration, may we take time in silence to acknowledge our harvest mentally, materially, spiritually. May we make fallow our inner lands to enable us to receive again, to sow, to grow, to give, and take anew. As we move into the darkness and the time of introspection, may we embrace the smells and colors that hearken our entry. Allow our fears of death, literal and figurative, be transformed and become our powers of will to take into our new life. As we continue to celebrate our progress of ascending into the fifth dimension, let us feel the quickening and beckoning to prepare our lives for global good and unity among the world's religions and peoples. Let us set an intention to see only that which reflects love in every situation that life presents. This is our challenge on earth. When we have chosen this particular time to incarnate, to carry out the work of transformation individually and collectively. And so just begin to see either the moon rising over the mountains or anything that feels illumining, and set that intention to align. And so it is us, amor, consensia, harmonia. And then we're going to turn to the west. And this will be toward the Rio Grande. Spirits of the West, guardians of completions, dragonfly, sacred dream initiators, we invite you to walk with us at this fall equinox and help us accept the forthcoming time of withdrawal to contemplate that we might see through our illusions. Grant us true introspection and strength garnered from our lessons in each of the 8 sacred yearly celebrations of the cycles of life on our earth walk. May we stand in the full power of our Western shield, ready to be champions of the spirit. May we learn harmlessness and become impeccable in living our truths. May we choose each day to acknowledge and release that which is no longer needed. Gift us the twilight experience of unity with our allies in all of the realms, that we may live harmoniously and with peace and dignity. May you guide us through the sacred dream to mindfulness. During this time of planetary and human evolution, let us lift the 7 veils of illusion: fear, separation, power, emotions, language, perception, and thoughts. Let us be more and more conscious as we interact each day in each and every situation, choosing to find the greater good and the higher path to walk. Help us commit to accelerating our capacities for embracing the vibrations of the 5th dimension. Gift us loving guides to assist us in discovery and help us stay the course of this less traveled road. Allow us to truly honor the divine feminine cycle. And I invite you in the silence again to just close your eyes and think of all of the fruit or vegetables that you've harvested during this growth season. Be proud of yourself for things you've released. If you had an addiction, or you had a relationship that needed to end because it wasn't really feeding you or your path, just say a prayer of thanks right now, a simple thank you. And so it is, luz, paz, amor, consensia, armonia. And now we're going to turn to the north. This is the direction heading toward Albuquerque. And this is also the direction of the ancestors. So if you have a particular ancestor, living or not, that you're attracted to, why don't you call that ancestor in to be present with you in some way? That might be you hear a message from them. It might be a feeling of energy around your shoulder or around your head. It will be safe, no harm. But let's really devote ourselves to the ancestors. Spirits of the North, wisdom connectors, our ancestors, white buffalo, we invite you to accompany us at this festival of the West, the Autumnal Equinox. We ask you to teach us to respect and love our roles and those of others in all aspects of our earth walk. Grant us cleansing, renewal, and purity of insight, that we may go within to view our lives not from the perspective of ego, but through the eyes of love and detachment. Allow us the trust to experience in a non-threatening way the presence of those ancestors. Those are spirits that surround us with protection and with wisdom. Help us to accept and understand our own shadow sides, that we may live in harmony with all aspects of self and learn non-judgment of others. Above all, give us a clear vision of what a world would look like if cooperation were expressed through harmony and purity within and without was manifest. White Buffalo, honor us with a revision of our purpose on this plane. Let's remember in this moment the 7 generations that preceded us and the 7 generations who will follow our footsteps. Help us to walk softly on this good red road and learn to leave less of a negative imprint. Grant us the inner knowing to contribute to the collective good in preserving the wisdom pool of our elders. Let us each embrace our own elder passage, maintaining a youthful spirit, yet surrendering the cultural obsession with youth. And now we're going to turn to the south. And this is the direction of innocence, of the faith protectors and guardians, that even though untoward things may have happened to us, that presented someone in our lives that helped us move beyond. Spirits of the south, faith protectors, inner child, porcupine, the quality of innocence. We invite you to fill us with wonder as we immerse ourselves in the twinkling lights that represent divine flame, and the darkness representing the tunnel we must traverse to our illumination. Light of the burning candles, transform our earthly sight, that we may free ourselves of judgment and open our earthly sight and open our perspectives to all possibilities that the earth walk affords us. Dark of the tunnel, pass us gently through your labyrinth, that we may again embrace the light. Grant us the experience of adult-child integration and help us to gain trust, that we may express more love to ourselves and those around us. Allow us to experience a healing of all transgressions by ourselves and others against our hearts, so that we may grow well and take those actions which will create greater inner peace and outer happiness. May the light of the growing love and awareness traverse the oceans and carry our intentions to all corners of our planet. Coyote, through your antics, help us to laugh at our follies and those of our Hoopa family, that we may become forgiving. Faith protectors, more than ever, we call upon you to guide us to reclaim innocence, so that we may welcome the process of transcending the third dimension. Help us to name our inner divine being, our beloved, that he or she may become a daily voice guiding us to ultimate personal and planetary good. So in this direction, let us just remember a part of ourselves that existed when we were a small child, that anticipated with joy, just pure joy, that the tooth fairy would leave a present, that Easter would bring a basket of goodies, that Christmas or Hanukkah, Kwanzaa would bring presence, as the Christ child gave the presence of his life. So just pause for a moment. See that little girl or boy. See the most happy time that you can remember. May not have been with your family, might have been with a good neighbor, teacher, someone. We all had moments that someone fostered our innocence. And so it is paz, amor, constancia, armonía. Now we're going to look above, we're going to look for what the native people call Great Spirit. Mother Sky, provider of the sun, moon, and stars that remind us of our origins, shine your light on us that we may be illumined. Under the influence of the balance of light and dark, may we see all aspects of our lives where we have opportunity through acknowledgement and action to create more peace, more light, more joy. Honor our tribute to you. Bless us with upliftment. As we surrender the masculine cycle of the year, let us do so in gratitude and acknowledgement of these important energies as catalysts for change. Though dormant now, let us utilize our calls to action in preserving Earth and rebirthing it. We have so many beautiful skies here to remind us of reaching above. And then we're going to concentrate below, wherever your feet are, if you can be on the ground or on the rug or the tile or whatever. Mother Earth below, provider of all that sustains and nourishes our earth walk, we ask that you provide a strong foundation and that you forgive us our unconscious acts of harm upon you. Honor our growing awareness of our responsibility to you. Bless us with seasons to grow by and understanding of your needs. As we enter the feminine cycle of the year, let us do so in anticipation of the time of gathering inner knowledge and planting the seeds of transformation. We honor all your kingdoms in the recognition of our mutual oneness. May the animal, plant, mineral, and human kingdoms live in peace. And then I'd like you to place your hand over your heart. We call on our inner selves to move us in the direction of deep peace. As we focus on our heart by placing our hands over it, let us feel the warmth and support that our inner selves always offer. Let us recognize the goodness and wholeness within that is our given right and claim it. We ask that our journey toward more peace spill out and overtake our exteriors, that we are spiritual beings having a material experience of the highest order. Let us acknowledge the power of love and use it for planetary good. And before we close, let us also honor the four cross directions of southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast. To the southeast, may we have light and the lifting of retribution. To the southwest, may we have innocence and the lifting of the fear of death. To the northwest, may we have beauty and the lifting of the fear of the universe. To the northeast, may we have wisdom and the lifting of fear of pollution. Spirits of the east, we've come full circle, as do the seasons and cycles of the year, and we thank you for granting us your presence and support. May a symbolic pipe of peace be partaken by each person present, that the union of Mother Earth and Father Sky melts our boundaries and envelops us in oneness. As we move the light from east to west, let us sing out words of praise for all the harvests that we experience. Afford each of us wisdom that we may contribute to ongoing planetary, spiritual, and human evolution. So I invite you now to take your candle that's in the east, to walk to the west, and say, until the spring, we return the light to the west. Now we're going to do a little meditation. I'm going to just invite you to close your eyes. And we recognize that we're under the Pisces moon, and balance becomes important. We're surrendering the time of greater light in the northern hemisphere and moving slowly into the time of diminishing light. The male energies surrender to predominance of the female. And tonight, I ask each of you to look at the image of the scales of balance in our four bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Let us take a couple of deep breaths Take a deep breath for the physical body. And ask any dysfunction in the body to be repaired. And we take a deep breath for the emotional body. And imagine that any emotional attachments or hooks are being released effortlessly. And then we'll breathe to the mental center of the body, placing our hands over the solar plexus, the center of will and intelligence. Take a deep breath in and release with a sigh. And let go of mental tensions. And finally, we breathe for the spiritual body. We're going to breathe all the way down to the root chakra, and then we're going to pull that breath up to our crown. So take a deep breath in, pull it up to the head, move it down the front, all the way to the root chakra. And find a place in your mind right now, in nature. Walk softly around each of the directions. And notice that there's a concentric maze in the middle of a pond that you find. See that you're speaking to the moon and asking for a blessing for the feminine cycle. And you move to the south and ask that joy become a facet of your life. You move to the west, acknowledging again the feminine time of year, that you will benefit. Now you move to the north, asking for guidance and sage wisdom for this passage, knowing that your ancestors have much to share about your earth journey. And back to the east, you reflect on the pond, and as you gaze at the pond, you find that you metaphorically enter the maze pattern on the water surface. You're aware that it's your intention to let the energies of this approaching equinox bring your life into balance and alignment. And miraculously, you're walking on water. Miracle indeed, yet it seems real, and you follow the maze pattern, keeping it in mind at all times that you're exploring any places in your four bodies that is seeking balance. Be aware of your body. Is there any place in your physical body right now that needs more flow? Emotions come to your awareness. Are there any emotional changes in the last season that are now ready for release? Dispassionately let go of the hooks. Moving slowly through the maze on the water surface, allow your thoughts to float up. Are these positive and life-affirming or negative and soul-sucking? Be detached. Notice that they're more negative than positive without judgment. If negative, predominant, see them as little blips on the inner radar screen and see the air just carrying them away as a gentle breeze. And finally, you're nearing the center of the maze, and here you look at the spiritual body, balance or imbalance. Before you see an image of the scales of justice, with your own inner judge presiding. Are your scales in balance? If so, ask how to keep them balanced. If not, ask what it is, what proactive thing you can do to bring them into balance. And slowly now you're being immersed in the water at the center of the pond. It's very shallow. So you do not need to be concerned about your safety. Here in the center, the healing waters are available for your four bodies, and you are now bathing in the healing balm. It feels refreshing, invigorating, soothing, and gentle as you just allow the water to reach every part of you. If you're comfortable, let your head go under the water for a moment, holding your breath, and then lift it out of the water. And now completely emerge from the water at the pond's center, and notice again you're standing on the top of the water. You might see this as a metaphor for being on top of any concerns or challenges in your life with the power to just walk over and away from them. So keeping in mind balance, start working your way back through the maze. At each turn, affirm health for your body, emotions, mind, and spirit. And when you're back at water's edge, step out of the pool, sit quietly for a while, contemplating the fall equinox. And when you're complete, rise and walk around the pond again, thanking each of the 4 directions. Take the path back to the meadow. Pause under the moon and say a big thank you. And slowly let the meadow fade and bring yourself back into your body. Listen to this. Listen for any messages that you receive. When you're ready, open your eyes. And just be grateful for the fall equinox. So I send you love and wish that for each of you, the fall brings one or more special miracles, milagros. Thank you so much. And so it is.
For the one out in the corner with no place left to go. For the one out in the fields who's running out of hope. For all the lost and lonely so far away from home. Shine on, shine on, shine on. Like a beacon in the night, keep on burning bright, shine on. For all of those who wonder if a light will ever come, shine on, shine on. For the one who's down to nothing and feels like giving up. For the one who has most everything but a little bit of love. For the ones at your own table who just can't love enough. Shine on, shine on. For all the feet that stumble and can't make it on their own. For all the hearts that tremble in the darkness all alone. For all the eyes that ask us where we've been so long. Shine on, shine on, shine on. Like a beacon in the night, keep on burning bright, shine on. For all of those who wonder if a light will ever come, shine on, shine on. Like a beacon in the night, keep on burning bright, shine on. For all of those who wonder if a light will ever come, shine on, shine on.
Please join me in prayer as we affirm our prayer of faith. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God dwells within me, guides my way through every moment, night and day. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do and be, through Christ, the truth that is in me. God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Amen.
And our tithes recipient for this week is the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. So we hold that energy in our heart as we send that out in love to the Center for Spiritual Living and through them out into the world. Thank you.
Welcome to Unity of Las Cruces, where we know that God is good all the time. Your love blessings can be made at the Unity of Las Cruces website or on the weekly email. You can mail your gift, donation, or tithe to the P.O. Box. Your gift is given in love, goes out to the others in love, and love returns tenfold. And so it is.
And we thank you for your continued tithes in many forms that come to us in many different ways. So much gratitude. Next Sunday, we have a new to the Unity of Las Cruces speaker. It's my mentor and friend, Karen Stars, who is a nonviolent communication, otherwise known as compassionate communication facilitator. And she'll be looking at needs and different levels of our beingness, as Reverend Amari was just sharing. So looking forward to Karen next week. And this is our September speakers, with Karen closing out the month next week with our theme of order. I will be doing this, the Daily Word again this coming Wednesday at 9:30. So please join. It's a different Zoom link and all are welcome. Thank you for all of you who have donated. I will be taking our first full barrel of pet supplies, and I'll be taking that the donation to Action Programs for Animals this coming week. So much gratitude. So it is 4 weeks today that we will be doing the celebration of life. We'll be sharing this within the whole New Thought community and all the many, many people whose lives were touched by Reverend Terry Lund. So 4 weeks today is the celebration of life in the afternoon from 2 to 4. And we are requesting that people send cards with a special story, a celebration of life, a special moment that they remember where Reverend Terry touched their lives. So we would love to have that for the afternoon on October 17th. And also that same weekend, there's the memorial for Sam and Nancy Ritchie, and that's held the day before on October 16th at 2 o'clock at St. Paul's Methodist Church. So we are welcome to, of course, both of those events. And on a sad note, just wanted to bring to people's attention that the son of Randy Brown and Mary Lynn, his name was Cody Brown, John Cody Brown, and he made his transition unexpectedly and on the 15th this last week. And they have a request for cards, but particularly they would appreciate if anyone feels spirit calling them to do so. In lieu of any flowers or donations, they particularly would appreciate some financial donations to help bring all the family here for the funeral service. And our prayers go out to them. So thank you all for joining this Sunday's celebration and ritual for the autumnal equinox. So you're very welcome to stay after the service so as we can connect and share our ideas or experiences or anything that's going on. And so thank you again for everyone being present here as we move into the prayer for protection and the peace song.
Please join us as we affirm the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Amen.
peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be a moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thanks to Amari for such a beautiful leading us through the ritual, the ceremony, the meditation for the autumnal equinox, and for the beautiful music from Barry and Max, for everyone here present. And I love that idea of when we look at our life, just looking for the miracles in it. So I just invite everyone to move forwards into this next week, looking for the miracles at this time of the year that brings us balance and brings us towards that phase where we can rest as well as move. So much gratitude to all of that, and namaste.